I'm Corbett Wall with DB Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, November the 7th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Macrocin is a bold, affordable telithromycin injection. You can learn how it compared head-to-head versus Pioneer products in a 4,600 head trial by going to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards got a good run here on Monday. Despite lighter numbers around, but 7,000 head on offer here for the regular feeder cattle auction on Monday. Including in that's going to be 30 straight loads of true yearlings, which are getting hard to find, guys. Also got a big consignment of 750 head of weaned calves off one ranch. Both going to be included here on the regular feeder cattle auction here on Monday. They get started early at 6:30. They'll be on big bunches by 8 for sure. They also have a special cow sale coming up this Wednesday, November the 9th. It's one of those afternoon cow sales they have every month. Starts at 4:30 in the afternoon after they get done with all the weigh up cows for the regular Wednesday cow and bull sale. Missed opportunities, and that's all you can really say about last week's fat cattle trade. It was a missed opportunity. We had the hammer and neglected to use it. Market ended up being mostly steady, which I guess people can say that's good enough. But you know, they've been buying these feeder cattle that break even with the cost of gains we were looking at. The break evens on most of these cattle are well into the 160s, and if we can't gain market position when we get the opportunity to do it, I don't see how that people expect us to ever get there. And so that's a problem there. And another problem is buying those yearling feeder cattle and the big calves that are going to break well into the 160s or maybe even 170, and you can't hedge them all the way. And so you've left yourself open for some pretty significant losses if we can't get some market position here. But this past week we went into the week knowing that packers are short bought, knowing that they really have an appetite that can't get quenched for well marbled cattle because they've got more of that product promised than what they're getting harvested. And we know that we had extremely tight numbers of market ready cattle. Yet we did not use that. You know, the board was down about $0.50 a day for the first 3 days of the week, and so everybody just figured they better just go ahead and sell them steady. You know, that's disappointing that's the way it goes. But like I've always said, it's easier to get 4 heads together than it is 400. And so if the guys won't work together, stick to their guns, dig in and demand more money, price the cattle higher, and keep them unless they get it, and not sell them anything, you know, you're not going to be able to gain any more market position. But we're getting down now where we only have about a month of the extremely tight supplies. We're going to get into some holiday breaks and things like that that are going to enable the packers to get in a better situation as far as having you know, more cattle that are market ready to work with. Yes, our market's going to be good for the next 2 or 3 years, but it's going to be up and down. But we just had a really good opportunity here, and we're kind of in the middle of it now. To gain a lot of market position. We have gained a few dollars here. We are square in the 150s now, which I doubted that would ever happen, but just unable to get it to go any further than that. But also this past week we saw the reappearance of basis jumpers, especially in the northern plains after the board was down there for 3 days just moderately. It started getting down there, you know, under what they were going to sell the cattle for, and if you could sell them for 153, you felt like you were getting an extra buck with your basis. But it just makes it hard to ever gain any market position when it's like that. But we want you guys to do something here tomorrow, which is vote. So whatever you guys got lined up, make sure that you get by and vote tomorrow if you haven't already done so. Remind people to do it. If you have older people you know that can't get there by themselves, help them get there. We're in deep need of a change of leadership, guys. So get in there and vote and help all you can. Let's talk about your board. For last week, your December live cattle futures, Monday was down 52, Tuesday was down 52, Wednesday was down 55. Everybody thought the world was coming to an end. We really had no reason for the board to be that way other than just correcting itself after seeing some gains there. But you know, the gains had to do with the gains in the cash market over the last couple of weeks. But you know, I don't know why we let the board influence so much what goes on in the cash currently. But Thursday was up 55 cents, and then Friday back off 30 cents. But December live cattle futures ended the week at 150.165, down $1.35. February ended the week at 154.37. November feeder cattle started out on Monday down a quarter. Tuesday was down 70. Wednesday was up $2. Thursday down 92, and Friday down another 17. With November feeder cattle ending the week at 177.82, down a nickel for the week. January ended at 179.62, down 75. Corn ended the week, December contracts at 681, up a quarter cent a bushel. We're getting on the far back side of our harvest here now. Beans 14.51 and a half, up 63 3/4 cents a bushel. With a lot of shakeup coming from the news and the flip-flopping of Putin and the Black Sea grain deal. But that's just a different story every day, and your grains are going to flip-flop on that until we get something settled, hopefully someday. Fat cattle trade up through Thursday, 68,200 head. Your live sales, steers and heifers last week ranged in price from 149 to 155. That 149 was mostly just on Mexican origin cattle down in Texas. The 155 was reserved just for some very, very high quality cattle in eastern Nebraska and in Iowa. But mostly in the southern plains, your market was 150, and that was steady. And in the northern plains, it was mostly 152 to 153, and that was steady on a live basis. Your weighted average on live steers up through Thursday was 150.197, basically steady, or 2 cents per hundredweight, or about 30 cents a head, better than last week, but hard to call that a gainer. Dress market was higher. Your dress sales, steers and heifers last week ranged in price from $236 to $245, which was $1 to $4 higher. Your weighted average on dressed steers was $241.77. That was up $1.94. Friday, we didn't see much significant trade. Colorado's confidential, of course. Iowa, we saw 3,100 head sell on Friday. We saw 26,700 sell there for the week. Live sales in Iowa on Friday, 152 to 155. Dress sales, 240 to 242. Nebraska, just about 150 sold on Friday, confirmed 27,600 head for them for the week. Dress sales only on Friday, 241 to 242. Kansas did not have any confirmed sales on Friday, just 9,100 head for the week. 20,100 head in negotiated grid sales, which are really not negotiated, that were turned in last week. Texas, about 100 heads all, 8,000 head for the week. About 4,000 head in negotiated grid cattle turned in for the week, but Southern Plains did not sell near what they normally do negotiated for the second week in a row, but just kind of mixed cattle for the market on Texas. But the market in Texas and Kansas was 150. Box beef cutout values ended the week higher. Your weighted average on all of last week's sales, Choice cuts $263.74. That was $2.54 higher than the previous week's weighted average. And late sales on Friday were just about the same as the weighted average. Select has been more volatile. Your weighted average on all of last week's sales was 233.06, up 347 from the weighted average previous week. Your late week sales were about $1 lower than that weighted average at 231.90. Choice Select spread on the weighted average of the bulk of movement, $30.68 and 630 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Slaughter was aggressive again last week, 667,000 with just a 29,000 head Saturday estimated, but that 667,000 was 1,000 less than the previous week's all, and 15,000 head more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. DV auction is right in the middle of our fall sales right now. The fall sale season is not nearly as big as the spring sale season. I'm talking production sales. But we do have a fair amount of fall sales, and whenever we are having several production sales, and by several, I mean probably 70 to 120 a weekend, and then a few scattered sales with a lot of time sales through the week. But DV auction production sale report for October come in, and these are just the production sales, not counting the about 100 weekly cattle auctions that we have stationary system in. But bids come through DV auction console, 18,600 bids just on the production sales. We had about 2,900 lots sold through DV auction in our production sales in October, and total purchases through DV auction of $14.8 million. So if you guys are having a production sale, whether it's a bull sale, female sale, combined, horses, goats, sheep, all kinds of breeding stock, whatever you're having, get a hold of the DV auction. We can come to your place, take the bids right there at your place, open that up online. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Real-time index on DV auction ended the week at 175.62 based on an 800-pound steer up through the middle 12 states. That was up 27 cents compared to the end of the previous week. Cash feeders in the sale barns steady to $2 higher in a lighter test of true yearling cattle. Some of the big calves are starting to pull that down just a little bit. Your lighter weight calves, 400 to 600 pound calves in the southern plains were $5 to $10 higher because we've gotten some moisture over the last couple of weeks down here. The wheat is looking so much better. Wheat turnout prospects are improving drastically. A lot of people are thinking they'll get to turn out by the 1st of December, which is a whole lot better than nothing at all. And with hay and feed costs of any kind being through the roof, just glad to find something to turn cattle out on. But northern plains calves kind of backing off a little bit from being so stout earlier, which a lot of those high dollar calves and fancier calves in the northern plains, a lot of those were coming south to turn out on wheat, but with more calves moving in the south. Your northern plains calves, and just sheer numbers of them moving, which I know we're tighter on calf numbers, but still, if they're all moving at the same time, because everybody turns their bull out at the same time, and calves at the same time, it's gonna hurt the market. But northern plains calves were steady to $5 lower. Look at your late week sales, and over the weekend on Saturday in Fort Scott, Kansas, had a good sale there, 2,500 head of feeders. Nice sale. You look at this automated market report, you see what the market is in eastern Kansas. Look at your best tested weights, 336 head of 5-weight steers, average 563 in Fort Scott, Kansas, with a weighted average price of $182.03. It's about $4 better than the lighter run the previous week. 471 head of 8-weight steers in Fort Scott averaged $869 with a weighted average price of $174.78. That would be sharply higher compared to last week, but they did have several nice loads of yearling cattle there weighing in the 8s and they brought a big price. 254 head of 5-weight heifer calves averaged 554 with a weighted average price of 164.59, about a buck higher than last week. And 194 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 650 with a weighted average price of 163.14, and that would have been sharply higher than the previous week. Look at our Zoeta stick-out sale of the day. And that'll be Fort Pierre Livestock Auction on Friday at 8,250 head of cattle. Your calves were steady to $8 lower for the most part, and not a good comparison there on the dwindling numbers of true yearlings that we see. But look at these steer drafts that come through Fort Pierre of 100 head or more, which seems pretty impressive there, and there's a lot of them. Including in there is 102 head of 602-pound steers, bring 214. I did see that they had a load of 90 head that weighed 605 at 217, and that'd be getting pretty impressive there, guys. How about St. Onge Livestock in St. Onge, South Dakota? 119 head of 413-pound steers, bring $2.50 a pound. Wahoo, Nebraska, one of my favorite places to say. Wahoo Livestock Sales, 65 steers weighed 850 at $184. But the best quote that I saw anywhere late last week or over the weekend, your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, come out of Dunlap Livestock Auction in Dunlap, Iowa. 56 head weighed 973 on Friday at 181.75. That's your feeder flash for Monday.